converse about the Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798. President John Adams believed that criticism would damage his reputation. This led him to create these acts. In my opinion, these were an excellent addition to the laws back then because there were a lot of critics and a lot of conspirators. However, the Democratic Republicans thought otherwise. In Vice President Thomas Jefferson's letter to John Taylor, he states some pretty seditious words. He says, and I quote,
"This attempt to silence political opposition is not new. It is the old practice of despots to use part of the people to keep the rest in order. A little patience and we shall see the reign of witches pass over, their spells dissolved and the people recovering their true right and restoring their government."
Now what this means is that Thomas Jefferson was trying to compare the Federalist government's acts to that of a tyrant's. I, for one, believe that these acts were great for the French Revolution that was going on at that time. Next up, we have an interview with historian Alberto Einsteino. How are you doing, Mr. Einsteino?
It's great to be on your show.
Now, I would like to discuss the Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798. What's your position?
Well, Phil, I believe that these acts were very unconstitutional since we have been protected from things like this by the First Amendment. And as stated in Charles and Mary Beard's A Basic History of the United States, these acts, instead of fastening the grip of the Federalists on the government, laid them open to attacks in the name of American liberty.
Now, hang on a second. Don't you believe that these acts were a great way to make sure that the public doesn't get too powerful?
No, Phil. In fact, I think that by taking free speech away from the people, it made John Adams look like a despot.
Isn't calling John Adams a despot a bit harsh? He only took away a little bit of the public's freedom of speech.
Well, an example of why that would be a bad thing would be Luther Baldwin, the first to be prosecuted for these crimes.
Well, let's see exactly what happened.
There goes the president, and they're firing at his
Hell, I don't care if they're firing through his.
What's your position on this scoundrel uttering these irritable words to our president?
Well, I believe that because he was under the influence of alcohol, this was an arrest under false pretenses.
You're kidding, right?
No, I'm not.
We're moving on here. So, a writer for Guardian, or New Brunswick Advertiser, advertised the Alien and Sedition Acts and showed that they agreed with them by saying, "Sedition by all laws of God and man is and ever has been criminal. And when it is not, the laws will be crimes themselves and magistrates will swing. Behold France, government after government had been laid down till the sword cut off the tip of sedition's tongue."
Well, there were people that agreed with these acts and some didn't. Not everyone conformed to one way of thinking, you know.
Okay, well, explain that to me.
Well, in 1798, John Marshall was a candidate for Congress when these acts were passed. He stated that he was not an advocate for these bills and would have opposed them if he were in Congress that day. He thought them to be useless.
But how are they useless?
This was his own personal opinion. Like I said earlier, not everyone thought the same way about these bills. Marshall believed that these bills were calculated to create unnecessary discontents and jealousies.
Well, what does he mean by discontents and jealousy?
I believe that he means to say that people would be unsatisfied with the government and be jealous of anyone that had free speech.
You know what? John Adams was a great president. He always thought before he acted. You do not talk about my president that way.
Well, I mean, John Adams was not a very good president.
No. He was a great president. He always thought before he acted.
Well,
He must have thought before he acted this time. For these acts were great for the time.
well, I mean, he didn't. I mean, if he released the Alien and Sedition Acts, do you really think that he thought before he acted? I mean, people didn't like this.
Do you know what he was thinking about? He was thinking about the safety of our country. Well, it looks like we're out of time. Join us next time for Jefferson's presidency. This is Bill O'Reilly, signing off the Bill O'Reilly Factor.